Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And I am back with part 2 of the Cam Janssen interview. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, maybe you want to go to the link in the description, check that one out first, then come to this part 2. Or maybe you want to watch them out of order, whatever you want to do. But there is part 1 in the description. Part 3 will be coming in a few days. This is part 2 of the series with Cam Janssen, and Cam is such a legend. Cam is the absolute man. Again, thank you to Cam for doing this. Amazing to talk to him. Check him out on the Cam and Strick podcast. I'll put the link in the description for that as well. Him and Andy do a great show. They have a ton of great guests, so definitely check him out if you're not familiar. And without further ado, part 2 of Cam Janssen on Running with the Devils. My guest today has played 336 regular season NHL games with another 10 in the playoffs, a fan favorite anywhere he has ever played, a punishing hitter, a quintessential energy guy. He's on my Mount Rushmore of Devils tough guys, co-host of the Cam and Strick podcast, the pride of Eureka, Missouri. Welcome to Running with the Devils, Cam Janssen. Yoink.
What's up? I'll do that too.
So now that still on rookie season, what was your first impression of Marty in practice, and how was Marty in those practices at that time?
He was crazy in practice, man. Not like chirpy, didn't yell. I got played with guys that did that too. He just would stare you down. I was intimidated shooting on him. My shot, like I'm just figuring stuff out still. Like literally, even in the NHL, I'm like figuring out how to shoot still. Really. Everything came so fast. Like I'm still putting everything together.
You started playing at 10, right?
Like I'm just trying to I started really
insane.
late, man, 11 years old. Like it's crazy. So I didn't even know where I'm aiming the puck sometimes. So I just shoot low. And then I'm like, man, I gotta work on a couple things. So I got, a couple times I'm trying to rip it high on him because he knows I'm just going 5-hole, which is a safe thing to do on some. But I got to work on things too. I just remember a couple times I rocked him right in his freaking head, man, with a shot. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And he gave me that look. And I'm like, oh, my. So it was intimidating. But then I got my groove down. And I figured it out. And I started kind of sniping on him here and there because he would not want me to shoot him. Of course, if I shot on him, I'd give him a look like, oh, boy, you better figure things out. I scored on you. So we'd have a little competition. Maybe he'd even notice it because he probably has it with everybody. But I noticed it. He was awesome to me. I hung out with him a lot, dude. I would sit next to him on the plane. He would invite me to dinner. I kind of forced my way into that because I wanted to hang out with him. I didn't give a shit. Call me a nerd all you want. I got nobody else. Like, I want to hang out with the big boys. Like, there's not many young guys. We have a group of young guys going, no. I'm hanging out with all those guys, man. And I loved it. And maybe I was annoying off the bat here and there, but they accepted me. And again, another guy, Marty, he just came on the pod, dude. He's just the best, man. He is the coolest dude. He's smart, and he's an unbelievable athlete is what he is. Like he would do crazy stuff even in practice, saving goals, irrelevant 2-on-1s in practice, and he'd do crazy acrobatic moves.
I used to go to tons of practices and periodically would tell my mother, I called it the South Mountain flu. I would say, I have the South Mountain flu today. She'd call me out of school and I'd go watch you guys practice at South Mountain. I'm still shocked this day that Lou even allowed that. But I do remember watching sometimes if Marty got beat on a shot that he would like sweep the puck out of the net. And you could tell he was like mad. Like he was like, and I used to love seeing that stuff because of course. And you have no idea. Again, this is early internet. There's, the media in New Jersey obviously is basically non-existent. And so, outside of the couple little clips you would see on TV or some blurb that Rich Scherer would write in the Star Ledger at the time, like you really had no insight into that kind of behind the scenes stuff. And I remember, going to practice and just seeing all these little things behind the scenes that I thought, was awesome. So, the South Mountain days will forever be.
Lou kept it quiet, man. Like he tried to keep everything quiet. Like, he just wanted to play. And there's this weird, curiosity on the Devils at a time. So you can look at it like some teams show everything about everybody all day. You're filming, you blah, 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 blah. So you kind of know exactly what they are. But when you have a really good team and you're like, God, you're so curious. All you do is see them dominate, 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 dominate. You have all these superstars, cool guys on the team, and you want to know more about them, more about. Your curiosity takes over, and you're like, God, they're so much more interesting because we don't know enough about them because they're not in the camera or getting all this attention in the media. They're just there, but we're so curious. So but it's not good because you got to pump up your team, man. You got to have, but he just wanted to win, and he did. So it worked.
Yeah, I'm sure the marketing team or whoever worked in that regard for the Devils at the time and throughout his whole career, honestly, probably hated him because he hated anything that was remotely, attention seeking, or I think he would interpret as attention seeking behavior. He was not about it, and he was all about,
I wouldn't
the crest on the front, not the name on the back.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they hated him. I would just say they'd be like, "Well, this is different," because Lou would take care of you too. He would take care of.
I meant that for not literally hate him, but
Yeah.
They were probably frustrated that a lot of the things that would make their job easier or they make them better at their job he didn't want to do.
Yeah, he would micromanage, and they'd be like, "Can we do this?" No, he'd probably say no, and then they have to think of a new idea. We get that too with other teams as well because now it's different. Now it's like we don't want to get them jammed up. Like there's so much attention on you, and you got to protect your players because people will spin things out of control. We see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it with Corey Perry and Connor Bedard. We just see it with Pasternak and Brad Marchand. We see it with JT Miller and Pedersen. We see it with blah, 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 blah. Like, you got to squash that. Those kind of rumors will crush a team. Like, it really will. Whether they're true or not, all that negative attention will crush you. Guys can't handle it. It's too much going on. So I understand the protection, but you also have to pump your players up too. So people want to like them more. So they spend more money. It's all business.
Yeah, the economics of hockey in the current times. So out of that team, your rookie season, who were you tightest with on the team?
Oh shoot, man! The rookie season. Eric Rasmussen, Scotty Gomez, Marty, Colin White. I gotta give him a shout out. My boy,
Whitey.
Colin White.
Have you ever had Whitey? Have you ever had Whitey on the pod?
He's not a good. I need to have him live if I do it, because like he doesn't like doing that stuff, but he's one of the funniest human beings I've ever been around in my life. Colin White was so goddamn funny. He drank beer. He was tough. He liked me. I would just follow. I loved him so much, man. Colin White. He's still cruising. He's all over the place. All you guys out there, man, all you Jersey people, you gotta go say hey to Whitey. I'm telling you, the funniest laugh. He's from out east in Canada, man. Just a good old hillbilly boy. He's a hillbilly from up there, just like I am from down here, but it's just different. He tells me, he said, when I grew up, all the poor people ate lobster all the time. And all the rich kids at school would have ham sandwiches. And I'm like, damn, because they had so much influx of. He would just eat lobster all day, and he thought it was disgusting. Now you look at it, it's $500 at a goddamn restaurant. It's just funny, like he just grew up differently, and I had a great connection with him. Anytime I go to Jersey, I always try to meet up with him at the Hat or whatever it is, those little dive bars he loves to go to. So I gotta give him a shout out, Colin White.
I absolutely love Whitey. So interesting enough, a whole long story. I'm not going to tell the whole thing, but I got invited to Marty's golf tournament this past summer, and the guy I spoke to the longest there was Whitey. And I tried to get him to do a shot before the tournament started. He was like, it's too early. So then afterwards, I was like, Whitey, we got to do the shot. So we did the shot, and I ended up talking with him forever. Yeah, and he seems like, when I think of Devils personalities over the years, Gomer obviously comes to mind, but you and Whitey are right there as well. And I had him going. I was talking about random, stuff from back in the day, and we were bullshitting at the bar, and he was telling all these crazy stories. And I was like, yeah, and then I was thinking about it, like, yeah, has he ever been on Cam's pod? You guys definitely got to get him. And then
I know he doesn't like. He's very standoffish. Like I like that about him. Like if you're in his circle, he'll open up. But if you're not, he'll seem like he just. That's just the way he is. But once you get to know him and he is comfortable around you, you'll see his humor pop out so bad. We'll get him on. Is he still really hoarse?
Oh yeah, they get the raspy voice. Yeah.
Raspy,
Yeah,
dude.
that's
Like a
never going away.
cigarette smoker.
Yeah. So,
Although we did smoke darts back in the day. Don't get me wrong.
um, have you ever been to One-Eyed Whitey's?
Oh yeah.
Give me
Oh yeah.
give me
His
a quick
basement.
synopsis of One-Eyed Whitey's. Yeah.
Well, he just built it, and we'd all go over there and just be like, reach over the bar, like. I don't know if he still has that house or not. I don't know the situation with that, but I remember he put that badass bar downtown or about his basement, and he just locked the door so the kids and the wife can come down, and we just be like this. He had booze everywhere. Yeah, man, that's what you do. He was making good money, So you put in a badass bar in your basement for your boys, man. That's what you do.
So yeah, you said you want to get him in person. That would be awesome. Now that you have the pod and you're a media guy, how much better is in person, than this right now? I mean, this is awesome too. Obviously, with technology, we're able to do this right now. But I just did. I mentioned I did Jamie Langenbrunner, and the timing worked out where I was able to do it in person. And there's just something about it that's just a whole different level of because you guys have done both, right? You've done the computer and you've done the in person. And I don't want to forget coming back.
There's 3 tiers. Audio only, which we've done.
How are you going to do that now, though? There's no going back.
We were late to the game when we first started, right after 2019. We just did audio for so long, and then we're like, we have to do video with all these people. So now we're getting all those monster guests that we did just audio with on camera, just so people could see your personality. They could see your expression. They could see like whatever. Like it's just you're more intimate. And then when you have some people live, but you can't just get people live all the time. Like I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not paying for these guys to come down. They're doing me a favor coming on. Like,
for sure.
Usually, like you don't get much out of going on unless you jam yourself up, or you want to get something out that that's why it's good to get like coaches that got fired because they want to talk about what happened, and so people understand who they are and they're like, I like this guy. So like, there's some people want to be on, some people just do it as a favor, but getting people live. Like I'm in St. Louis, so we'll get St. Louis guys, but I'm not getting Kovalchuk. He's not coming to St. Louis to do a podcast with me. So you can't rely on live. But at least you could see me now. This is way better than
for sure. Body. For sure. But circling back on that, I want to tell the fans I've talked about it and told everyone to watch it and posted the link a bunch of times as well. But you referred to the Marty interview, which is absolutely awesome. I watched it as soon as it came out. Does he have any hesitation to do that sort of stuff? Or as soon as you asked, he was like, oh yeah, when I'm in St. Louis, come by, no problem.
Not one hesitation. He just said, absolutely. Boom.
Yeah, he dropped some nice nuggets in there. Listening to him talk about, the state of goaltending. Yeah, Marty's just another one of those guys where even over the years, you get a little bit of his personality, but I feel like behind the scenes, he was a little more, I don't know what you want to call it, like a slightly different personality than kind of what you saw in the
game. Yeah. He played the game. But now, like, you listen to him do an hour and a half long podcast, you get you know who he is now, and that the way he describes stories and the way he breaks down he's so damn smart. And if I'm Marty, who's squeaky clean, like he would party with the guys who never got in trouble. Lou never bullshitted him. Like he just was like perfect. And he would do everything. Like some guys are perfect and they don't go out and they don't do. Marty would be like the guy orchestrating things. And he did everything so professional. And now if I'm him, like, yeah, I'll do a podcast. I want people to know who I am. I want people to understand what's going on with the Devils. I want people, like he doesn't jam himself up. He doesn't, he's just a true professional, cool guy.
I always tell the younger kids, I have a lot of younger viewers, as well as the old timers like myself. But growing up in that era as a Devils fan was just, it's ridiculous. I mean, Scott Stevens, Scott Niedermayer, Marty, Dano, and you're talking about the coaching staff, Larry, Jacques Lemaire. It was just like, when you look back at it, I don't think there could ever be a run of, that type of organization really ever. I mean, the amount of guys that
3 more times We could have won in 2012 if Kobe didn't hurt his back. Marty hurt his arm. We could have beat LA. LA dominated everybody. Don't get me wrong. Like, they dominated everybody. They were an 8th seed. They came in, but you still had a chance. There's a couple overtime games. You still had a chance to beat them.
If we won one of those first 2 games at home, it's a whole different series.
Completely. And then they kind of get down on themselves. They never had any downfall throughout that whole. So if we would have scored on maybe a couple of, you never know. We could have been stingy. Marty could have sit on his head. It is what it is. And then, like, the Colorado Avalanche in 2001, 2000.
No, it's 2001. Up 3-2.
They lost. Yep. And I think they lost again sometime where they had a couple weird things where they could have probably gone again. Shit, they could have won 5 Stanley Cups in 20 years or 6 or whatever and been in the mix the whole time.
But if you want to go back down the road of what could have been, I mean, there was 2 finals losses alone, right? So if those go the other way, that's 5. The 93-94 Eastern Conference Finals against the Rangers, they would have beat the Canucks if they had beat the Rangers, I believe.
Oh, doubt. I would think that.
And then there's another team. Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but that 05-06 team I felt really good about as well.
Oh, yeah. We lost Carolina.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. I'm just trying to. So, all right. So, circling back to Lou, I call him the godfather of hockey. I think that's an appropriate title for him. Which one of his many rules did you personally hate the most?
Well, the most. I guess the one that you would have to focus on the most. You got your dress code, whatever. We'll dress nice, dude. Look good. You got your little quirky stuff in the locker room where, just it's not as relaxed as maybe other teams. Fine. You want to keep everything clean, organized. Don't chew. Blah blah blah. Little things. I like to tuck my jersey in and kind of like roll my sleeves up. Like, what's up? Can't do that. Okay, I can fix that. Fine. But the shaving every day with my beard was probably the most annoying because, even in the minors, you had to do it too, because sometimes he'd show up and, Chris would be there, although Chris was more lenient. But like just shit, like, I'd walk in the locker room and, Richie Matthews, the trainer, would be like, Cam, as a young kid, he'd be like, Cam, hey, you got it. He's going to call you out. I'm like, damn it. And I go in the locker room, like, shave, and I cut myself, and then I'd miss patches, and I just would, my sideburns would be down here to that. I look like a fucking idiot. I wanted to grow my beard out to look a little tougher and older. So that some of these cold locker rooms where you're trying to get the shit off your face, that was more of a pain in the ass than anything. But look, man, I needed discipline, dude. I was rocking and rolling, had some money because of my signing bonus. I did what I wanted in juniors. No one really told me what to do. My parents were lenient. I was partying, girls. And I needed a guy to fucking put me in my place, dude. And my parents couldn't do that at the time. And so I needed discipline, military style. And that was a perfect thing for me, and how to retrain my brain. It's not about me. It's about everybody. I got to take care of everybody. Like, I want them to play better because it's something I do, or, so that's the mindset that he gave me. And people criticize him for different things, man, but I stick up for him every gosh damn time, dude. Every time. I got to look at what he did to me. Like, he brought me back. He signed me at a young age because I knew my parents didn't have any money. Like, just, he took care of me. And I screwed up a couple times, and he still took care of me. So, you want to have an argument about Lou, bring it on.
I'm a Lou guy. I always like to hear, how the rules and the whole, stringent kind of military thing, how it affects different people. Yeah, different guys at that juncture. So what was the most trouble you ever got in with him, and for what?
And there's a couple things. Like, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to. There's a couple things. I remember going. One time, he scared me big time, and I was young. My first couple of years, getting a lot of attention, hanging out with other people from other places. Guys are kind of starting to like, Cam, you need to calm down maybe a little bit or whatever, right? And I'm staying at a hotel, and he's got spies everywhere. So I'm like bringing, what, in at night or whatever it is. And at a young age, like you need to go chill and take care of your. So like he's just watching everything, and I didn't even know. And so he called me in one time in front of everybody, and he's like, get in here. And I had to walk through. I was like, oh boy. And I walked in his office, him and John McClane. He's like, I know what you did. I'm like, oh God. I go, and it could have been 5 different things. Like, I'm like, what is it? Is it that or that? Did he see me do this? I need to, and he just said, you want me to send you home? I go, no, I got nothing. I got nothing. I go, I basically quit high school. Like I would put everything in, all my eggs in one bag. I just like pleaded to him. He's like, I can, you need to, he's like, you need to straighten up, whatever he said to me. And it made me, it was such a wake up call. And I'm like, I have so many different things into my bubble in my head that I did. And I'm like, you need to calm down and focus. And it's all he needed to do. He probably didn't even know exactly what happened, but he knew things were going on. And all he had to say was, you know what you did, and you need to tighten it up. I'll send you home. And I remember telling my parents that, and they were so freaking mad at me. They go, you better listen to him. They love him, by the way. Oh, God, yeah. They're like, that's the best thing ever for me at the time. And I told them that, and they were so mad at me. And they never got mad at me for the past how many years because I was doing my thing. So when my mom and dad are mad at me, and then my boss is mad at me, what do I got now? If that all crumbles down, you're not cool anymore. You're not that guy. No, you're nothing. So you better figure shit out, and you better do it quick. So that was a little wake up call. Never knew exactly what it was, but it could have been a bunch of things.
Wow.
One of those years, Claude Julien got fired 2 weeks beforehand, who's the assistant coach of the Blues now, who I travel with doing radio. And that was a big time eye-opening experience because we were like first place. And I don't know what, I still haven't got the story from anybody, but they fired him. And we're like, whoa. So I was like, whoa. And then we played New York Rangers in the first round. And I remember the craziness that went on with those two teams, like the rivalry. I've never experienced that before. And I saw how crazy it was in the playoffs, fights in the stands, all this stuff. And we shit kicked them 4-zip. And then we played Carolina. Then we played Carolina, that Carolina team that went on to win. And they just took it to us pretty good. Marty had a couple off nights maybe or something. Guys couldn't score.
So, yeah, sweep the Rangers in the first round. You're playing all the playoff games. How jacked up are you, during that whole series with the Rangers, and then afterwards, obviously we sweep, and now you're playing every night in the playoffs. Like, is this like your peak kind of?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That could be it. I think I was my best. I felt the best at that because I was more disciplined then than I was down the line with different things, especially when I came to my hometown here. So like my body was good. I wasn't digging into different weird things. I wasn't girls and stuff. Yeah, I was still in the mix with that, but I was more focused like, wow, I'm enjoying the moment for the first time and I'm flying around. I felt good, crushing guys. So that was probably like, if I just would have kept that mindset, maybe I would have played a couple more years and maybe I would have gone. But you go through different changes, man, and your lifestyle and you get used to different things and stuff like that. Even for a guy like me, you know what I mean? Like you look back on everything and you're like, man, if I would have changed that, I could have, because that was my peak. I felt like I was the quickest. I wasn't injured yet with that shoulder surgery with George Peros. So look, you can look back on all this shit and big. It'll drive you nuts. You just got, what are you doing now? How do you learn from that and then move on and take advantage of your popularity or whatever?
Speaking of your devastating hits, which obviously, and with your off ice persona and being a man of the people, obviously, like I said, a fan favorite, no matter where you played. Do you think what position did you play in football?
Inside linebacker, fullback, and then maybe safety because I was fast.
So yeah, clearly you're obviously, you mentioned, a freak athlete to start playing hockey at 10 years old, and then 10 years later you're playing in the NHL. But do you think football, like what do you think made you so effective and good at just crunching people and like lining them, not just like, there's guys that hit and they're kind of sloppy. Like you've had some where like, you're not even on the screen and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit. And then they pan out and you see like, you had this in your head like 6 seconds before and you see the guy's route and you line them up and time it and then just blow them up. Like, what do you think made you so good at that?
Well, you got to be able to skate for one, and you got to be powerful. And I was willing to sacrifice my body to really stick you, get you right in your sternum. Sometimes you get them high. but I was able to like, I was able to. I wish I was able to read the play to get the puck and score a goal. But in my head, I'm like, I know exactly where this damn thing's going, and I'm going to swoop this way, and I'm going to crunch down, and he's going to pass it right up here, and I'm going to tie. I just figured it out in my head, but I was able to get turn real quick and be boom. You know what I mean? And so you got to be ballsy to be able to hit a guy at open ice anyway, man. Like he's had his head down. I was craving that, dude. I was doing that when I was first started hockey. I never played non-check hockey. So my first year playing like house league, I was figuring everything out. Like, oh my God, I could crush guys. This is the best sport in the world. I played football, whatever. All that. This is the best. I could control my destiny. I know where you're at. I'm quick enough and strong enough and ballsy enough to get you and put you down to where you're like, what just happened? And I just got better. And in AAA, oh my God. And then juniors, crushing guys because I was big enough and fast enough. If I was 6'6", maybe I wouldn't be able to get there, but I'm 5'11". I'm like, I could fly around and just get on guys so fast to where if they don't make that play, they look stupid. Meaning, if they get out of it and throw it up, then my line mate's going to get that puck. But most guys have to eat this hit because they got to make the right play. And I just took advantage of it. Not to mention, the 04 lockout, they cut off the hooking and clutching. They took that rule away. The hooking and clutching rule. No one was able to hold me up. I dumped the puck in. I bounced right around that guy. He can't hold me up with his stick, can't do anything, or I'll draw a penalty. And so I was forcing guys to take a hit, and I just took advantage of it.
Looking at the game now, it obviously is so different from then. Yeah, it's speed and skill and finesse, and it's entertaining, but I do miss a lot of the hitting. Do you think, when I watch some of these guys, you see there's plays I watch every night. I watch every Devils game, and I watch some other games as well. But there's plays every single night where you're like, that dude could have just buried him if he wanted to. And it's just like, if at all, they'll do like a little glide, like, oh, thank you. Like,
I know.
Bro, what are they afraid of injury? Is it because the fraternity of the players is a little different? Like, what I respected most about you guys is you would kill each other and then you'd go have a beer afterwards. It seems like, and I hate to say this, over the years, modern hockey players have kind of morphed towards the way other athletes act, whereas Biz from Spit and Chicklets will call it tummy sticks, where everyone's all buddy, and guys just don't want to kill each other anymore. I mean, what do you think is the main reason for all of it?
Well, they are a little bit different in the mind. Like we were more crazy. Like my era was the last of the crazy big heavies guys that wanted to do that kind of stuff. And there's guys that still hit, man. Trust me, there's still big hits out there. I think it's more, and trust me, it's not because they're buddies. I'm buddies with a lot of guys, but I want to hit them. I don't care if it was my best buddy. I'm catching you with your head down. Oh, hell yeah. And then I'm like, what's up? And then afterwards, I'm like, you okay? If it's clean, I'm like, I got you. You know what I mean? Like, that's funny. That's your competitive edge. Now I think they don't want to do it because the more injuries you have is the injuries I've had is me trying to hit guys too. So you're rolling the dice every time you hit a guy to hurt yourself. And then number two, I think their mindset, they're not as like willing and crazy and that killer. So you have that. And then another thing is they're probably afraid to take a 5 in a game. The penalties are different now when you hit guys. Man, I look at some of my highlights on YouTube. Sometimes I'll drink some bunch of wine. I'll be like, let me see some. Yeah, I know I'm pathetic.
No, dude, I would do that.
That hit would not happen now, man. Maybe I already got 5 games for that. So they don't want to get dinged either. So it's a combination of a lot of things.
When you look back at all your bone crunching hits over the years, is there a specific one that comes to mind for you? Like, oh man, that was like the amazing hit.
Yeah, a couple of them. The Chara. Anytime you hit Chara, look that one up.
I saw it last night.
Yeah, like that was a good one because he just ran somebody, and I just timed it perfect, and I snuck down and I stuck him, and I probably should have fought him. That would have been better there. I don't know if he asked me. I don't think he did. It knocked the wind out of me a little bit, so I was kind of in a weird funk. You never want to fight a guy when you get the wind knocked out of you, because that's how if you get caught, like you're done. You have no energy. Like it's like a terrible feeling. Like you have no power. But that was, anytime you hit a guy that big. But yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of bad ones too. The Caberlet ones was not good. I got death threats after that, but I had to fight Wade Belak, and it all worked out. So
Another killer.
you should have seen some of those guys in AAA. The kids I hit AAA, man. Oh my God, the moms would say he's Satan. The moms would chirp me so much, but then they'd see my dad, and the men would be like, I'm not going to say anything to him, but the moms would still do it, and so my dad had to like play it cool, in some of these tournaments because the dads are like, I'm not going to go up to him, And then
is your dad a scary? Is your dad a?
They're like, this guy knows if his son's like that, he's probably like that.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking with him. But the mom's like, he's Satan. Like, okay, Satan. Like, come on, dumping water on me in the penalty. But oh yeah. So
another memorable when I think of your career, another one that comes to mind is 2007 after Avery runs Marty and there's that whole fracas and his helmet comes off and they're shoving and you are on the bench like a salivating dog. The camera just shows you and you're leaning over the thing and you're yelling down the ice to Lundqvist. We could read your lips for some of it, but what are you yelling at Lundqvist at that moment?
Well, it was chaos going on, and I had to do something. And so I just started yelling at him because they were torturing Marty. Avery was and all that. And it's all fun. Like, but at the time I'm like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna run you. I'm gonna beat you up. Blah, 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 blah. Way worse than how I kind of stated that. It was more hardcore and graphic. So then I'm like, okay, what do I do now? Do I go run him over and beat him up? That's a 20-game suspension. Do I go bump him? So I go out there and big Colton Orr comes up to me. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just fight him. And then so we went and he caught me with a left. And then so in the end, I look like a fool because Avery did his thing. I call out Lundqvist. I think they win the game. I don't do anything to Lundqvist, but yet I fight Colton Orr and he beats me. So they won that one.
You can't win them all. You can't win them all, but you definitely had a very good record. So then the next season, you get traded to your hometown Blues in February of 2008. How did you find out about that trade, and was that like a kind of bittersweet moment for you?
Well, it's exciting to go home to play for the Blues. Like, that's how I grew up watching everything, and that's how I got into hockey. But I remember sitting out because I ripped my shoulder out to George Peros. They had Aaron Asham, who I love, who was kind of just taking my role on the fourth line, rightfully so, because he's just a cool, great player, tough, all that. So I'm just sitting games out, man. I'm depressed. I'm like, what am I doing? Am I going to play again? And then Lou called me over at practice one time, and he's like, I need to talk to you. So I went up there, and he sits me down. He's like, I traded to St. Louis. I go, fuck yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. Cam is the absolute man. Part 3 is coming soon. Again, if you haven't seen Part 1, link in description. Part 3 will be coming out in a few days. And check out the Cam and Strick podcast. Link also in the description. Some great interviews on there, including some former Devils. So definitely check that out and go comb through the channel. I'll be back soon. Lots of things in the works. As always, a lot of things going on. And I'll be back soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.